bet if you Google and type in any search engine, weight loss and dieting, you will end up getting a windfall of BS with the occasional piece of wisdom. What I don't like is the information that the mainstream fitness gurus and even weight loss enthusiasts are pushing out or delivering. They lead you to believe that weight loss is one size fits all, instead of creating a space to help individuals learn what really works best for them. So as usual, grab your pen and grab your pad because we are about to get to work. I'm not implying that the vast majority are wrong or that all the BS that is put out is for clickbait purposes, or am I? What I'm saying is what we receive 90% of the time when it comes to weight loss and dieting should just be observed on a deeper level and discerned, because a lot of it is misleading and creates more problems than solutions. So what aren't they telling us about weight loss and dieting? So the first thing that they aren't telling us when it comes to weight loss and dieting, that taking time off of a diet is not only a good idea, but could be very beneficial. So have you ever felt like you were counting down the days until your diet was over? Or started off your diet very good, but as time went on, you became extremely food focused and even moody? Or maybe you've even encountered being on a calorie deficit for a long period of time and still haven't experienced any change. Well, this is why taking these breaks can help. Taking breaks from being on a calorie deficit, which is the amount of food someone can intake and still be able to lose weight, and choosing to increase that caloric value every 3 to 6 months to an amount that keeps you at the same weight, which is also known as maintenance, will not only help you physically, but it will also lessen the mental toll that one may encounter depending on the diet that they are choosing to follow. Remaining on a calorie deficit over a long period of time can affect your metabolism as well as your energy levels. And in some cases, depending on how extreme the diet is, it can also affect your hormones. And if you don't know why it's important that you ensure that your metabolism is working optimally, then let that be your homework. So implementing a diet break every 3 to 6 months, along with a few other things, can help to ensure that your metabolism is working at its best. Now, when it comes to the mental side of the process, it can help break up the monotony of things. Now, the overall goal is to be in the process of creating a lifestyle change. So if the diet that you are choosing to follow is not something that you see yourself doing for the long run, then I strongly suggest that you reconsider it. This is why I fell in love with eating styles like flexible dieting and the 80-20 rule. These helped me break away from the restricted dieting mindsets, get in more whole foods, and showed me how to incorporate foods that I enjoyed and be more creative with my meals. In my other videos, I always talk a lot about balance, and it is crucial, it is important, and I'll go into a little bit more detail in this video as to why. But implementing a diet break is another tool that you can use to ensure that you have that balance. Whether it's taking a week from tracking your intake, or including more nutrient-dense carbs and healthy fats, or even having your favorite cereal in the morning, give yourself the permission to enjoy foods that you might not normally eat, and your metabolism will thank you later. So the next thing that they're not telling us is weight loss is not all about calories. Yes, weight loss does occur when you are in a calorie deficit. Again, like I said previously, in regards to being in a calorie deficit over a long period of time, your body begins to respond to the lack of energy source, which is what food is. It is also important to understand that all calories aren't created equal. 100 calories of chicken isn't providing the same nutrients/energy that 100 calories of chips would, thus causing your body to react. Now, I don't give a damn what fit gurus and weight loss enthusiasts have to say about this. There is lots of science that backs this up, but little to none that backs theirs. So let's talk about what will support your journey. Well, number one, you want to properly learn how to manage your stress levels. It's proven fact that stress increases your cortisol. Cortisol stimulates your fat and carbohydrate metabolism, creating a surge of energy in your body. While this process is essential for your survival situation, it also increases your appetite and cravings for sweet and salty food. You also want to make sure that you're getting in more whole foods. As I stated before, every calorie isn't created equally. So consuming a diet of ultra-processed foods increases your urges to eat and cravings. What I suggest is following the 80-20 rule. This will help with creating some form of balance while ensuring that you are providing your body with the energy that it needs to ensure that your metabolism is running optimally and helping you reduce your cravings of sugar, salt, and fatty foods. So the next thing that they're not telling us is that the diet that you start off doing 9 times out of 10 will not be the one that you end with. I actually feel like this is beneficial, and I don't understand why it's not being talked about more, because it's helping you understand what works best for you. Not only that, as you change, your needs change. Let's not mistake this for on again, off again dieting, because that's not what we're doing or promoting here. We are simply exploring and giving ourselves permission to try new eating styles, which is exactly what diet is. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into this. So according to, and I'm going to read from my notes so I make sure that I get everything in, okay? So according to the Oxford English Dictionary, the word diet has been around since the 13th century. At the time, the definition meant food, provisions, or victuals in daily use. But surprisingly enough, the definition shifted to include those limits as early as the 1500s. The word was most often used in relation to what was fed to prisoners, the bread and water diet. It wasn't until the early 1900s when Reverend Sylvester Graham, which was the inventor of the graham cracker, which was also the first diet food, and William Banting started the modern diet movement. So this is another reason why I say it's so important for us to take the deeper dive. So let's be honest, what do you think and feel when you hear the word diet? Probably exactly what they wanted you to think and feel. And thinking and feeling like that about that word, or thinking and feeling how you do, what do you think that does to a person? I mean, hell, they started off trialing the diet concept with prisoners. You probably feel like a goddamn prisoner. And we all know how the system is. Once you in, majority don't get out. If they do, it's temporary and they back in the system. Does it sound familiar? So I know I went a bit off topic, but I felt like that was important to share, but let's go ahead and get back into it. So through my process of sustainable weight loss, I've done low carb, I've done vegan, I've done raw, I've tracked my calories, I've done intuitive eating, I've done volume eating, and I've come a long way, honey, because I used to be the one, and my mother can attest to this, literally afraid to eat any carbs outside of Ezekiel bread, veggies, and maybe a piece of fruit. I knew I couldn't live like that. For me, okay? It might be for somebody, but for me, I knew that that was not sustainable. But in my brain, I thought in order for me to reach my overall goals and to keep off the weight, that needed to be the diet that I stuck to forever. Like there could not be any change. This is why I stress the importance of letting go of over-restrictive dieting. They might have their benefits, yes, but they're not sustainable. I mean, you could just look at The Biggest Loser, for example, and see where those people are today. And when you feel like you failed a diet that was set up for you to fail, you create a vicious cycle. Being restricted takes a psychological toll, and it can create anxiety, stress, frustration, and that can lead to your determinant. Variety is the spice of life, honey. So explore and don't feel like you have to stick to one eating style. Now, the next thing that they are not telling us is that a major part of sustainable weight loss is having balance between the mind, body, and soul. Let's break this down. When you're not mentally in the right place, how do you feel? What happens? What occurs? When you're not physically feeling good, what happens? When you are not emotionally stable, mentally healthy, physically healthy, what takes place? When one part of you is off, it affects the other. Okay? It does. It just does. It affects the other. If you are physically in pain, it affects your mental. Then it ultimately, it's like a domino effect. So when you sit back and take the moment to understand that this journey is actually threefold, and take time to tend to each part of you equally, you will naturally begin to do things in your action. It will start showing your actions, and you will start leaning into a more healthy lifestyle. Guarantee. Because it's almost impossible not to. I want you to think back to when you felt your very best. What was going on? Did you feel like you were broken into pieces, or did you feel whole? Were you off balance, or were majority of things in your life flowing? Here we are, back to balance. Changing your perspective isn't easy, so I'm not telling you to do it all in one night. It takes time. But I promise you, if you would just adjust and take a step back from what mainstream dieting and weight loss culture is teaching you and telling you, you'll thank yourself later. Now, what else aren't they telling us? We're not being told that your previous addictions can be transferred to other things that might not be beneficial for you in your process. So when I say addictions, I mean they have some form of addictions to sugar, salts, or food. So it's important to really understand that those addictions can transfer. And the key is to be aware in this moment. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper into it, just so to make sure you guys really understand where I'm coming from. So say you were addicted to certain habits that fulfilled a certain need. Okay, this could be within your eating style or whatever the case may be. And that need might still be there, but instead of the sugar and the food, that transfers to overindulging in shopping. Or for some, it could be drinking. Some even pick up the addiction of working out excessively. Now, I'm not saying any of the things are just horrible, okay? I'm not demonizing any of these things, but again, I'm the individual that stands strong on the importance of balance and having that within your life. Anything in excess can be harmful to an individual at some point. So just be careful and be aware of this and be okay with calling it for what it is. And then do what you need to do to make sure that that balance is maintained. It's not saying that you can't enjoy shopping, sugar, your sweets, or having an occasional drink, or whatever the case may be. All it's saying is be aware when it becomes noticeable that it is in excess. So what else are we not being told? That weight loss is not physical, it's mental. When I finally settled into this knowing, I knew exactly what I needed to do. I knew that no matter what diet that I chose to do, that the only way that I was going to be able to see it through to completion was if I transformed my mind. And that required me to take a deep dive into my subconscious to really figure out what the hell was going on. Why wasn't I able to create the healthy lifestyle that I knew I truly desired? Why couldn't I let go of the old ways and step into the new ones? And if I'm going to be 100 with you guys, this took me a while to grasp. And I believe the reason why it took so long was because, for one, I was focused more on the destination instead of my process and learning and enjoying. Then on top of that, I was doing a lot of the inner work alone. I didn't have any real guidance. And every time I opened up a social app, guess what was right there in my face? Eat this. Do this workout, lose this belly fat. But it was telling me that I had to do the things in order to reach my goals that I knew damn well when I focused on those things in the past, that didn't help me. So I decided to take the steps outside of that zone. This process was going to be deeper. It was so much more than just eating and working out, because I knew I had a lot of stuff going on as far as with trauma and being unbalanced emotionally. Remember I said mind, body, and soul. I was mentally in a space of pain, and in my soul as well, because I had experienced a lot of different things within my life and just being emotionally imbalanced, just holding on to a lot of BS. So I took the time out to read books and start engaging in content that would strengthen me. And once I started prioritizing my journey, my inner journey, I started working on my self-concept. I started affirming new things. I started thinking differently. I started changing. Once I started thinking differently about myself, who I was, I started to see the changes in my discipline, in my self-control, in the actions that I was taking for myself. I was stronger. I had the ability to stick through and follow through with the goals and the not just even the goals, but my aspirations and my desires. So no matter what came up against me, I was able to set those healthy boundaries. I was able to prioritize myself. So this is why I say that process is so crucial. It's so crucial. Once you transform your mind, your body truly aligns. It has no choice. So, and what I mean by that is that when your body aligns, that means you start acting differently. You start doing different things because you start feeling different about yourself, who you are, and what you're capable of accomplishing. So, you might not be spiritual. You might not be on a spiritual journey, and that is fine. But if nothing else, start listening to that inner you. Start getting in tune and tap into that inner you, because this is a desire for a reason. And and it's attainable. You can have it. You can experience. I don't care if you're an emotional binge eater, if you're an over-compulsive eater, if you have struggled with all your life. I don't care what hurdle or what barrier is in the way. You can overcome it once you get more in tune and understand what is blocking you from accomplishing those things, and start facing those things head on. Easy? No. Worth it? Hell yes. So prioritize that. Prioritize that. Get more in line and in tune with that aspect of you. And I guarantee you'll start seeing the changes. I guarantee it. It takes time. Don't focus on the destination. Focus on your process. Focus on the things that you are learning. Okay? And once you do that, you're not going to be easily distracted and deterred and misled by this BS mainstream stuff that is not assisting and aiding and helping you for the long run. Okay? It helped me take my power back from depending on everything and everyone outside of me. And it allowed me to take matters into my own hands and create the process and the journey that I desire to have, which later allowed me to determine what Laura needed and wanted with her process and her goals. This process is not the easiest to take, because there's a lot of work that must be done internally to navigate and understand what success feels like and looks like for you. And I encourage you to become real clear about that so that you can move forward within your journey. You deserve it, okay? You deserve to be healthy physically, spiritually, and mentally. And there is nothing that should be getting in the way of that. And I mean nothing. And if it is, it needs to be looked at and addressed. Anyway, that is all that I have for you guys today. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and share with someone that might benefit from the information that I provided for you guys today. As always, I love you. Make sure you check out the video that YouTube has suggested, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye. So you are not easily distracted, misled, or misguided from off of your path.